And you're welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another 12 episode anime which is 20 minutes long. Again, every episode's 20 minutes and it will roughly take you 3 hours to watch. It is another one of those quick to watch animes, obviously, because I am very busy at the moment. I am at work all day, and then I come home, spend like 3 hours watching anime, and then 2 hours playing Fortnite. Pretty good night to end off the day, pretty good way to end the day, and I think it's pretty solid, not gonna lie. I think it's a good use of time, and I have just come out of watching Kaiju number 8, which is a new anime, a main sort of new gen anime, which has taken the world by storm, and everyone is in love with this. I've seen it all over Instagram, all over TikTok, and one of my favorite music artists, Youngblood, is making the intro for it, which is absolutely incredible. This intro is insane. So Kaiju number 8 is a 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and it is a world plagued by kaiju, and our main character promises to enlist in the defense force with his friend, and years later he meets his basically a new colleague, and like he helps train him in the form of kaiju sort of disposal, where they rip up the body, dispose it, basically get what they can from it and to sell and make money from, and also make weapons to help the defense force have better weapons to obviously fight kaijus with. So they're making weapons out of kaijus, and unfortunately, he gets attacked by a kaiju, almost killed by a kaiju. That is never good, and I feel really sorry for him because of that happened. However, he then goes to hospital with his new buddy, who's basically his rival, who he wants to sort of overcome and beat. And then a weird bug goes into his mouth and makes him a kaiju. He then fights a kaiju, saves a little girl, and him and his new friend are like, alright, cool. We now have to keep this secret because I will be killed on sight. It will be on sight if he is seen by any of the government. So they think, 3 months later, he's a menace. So they're calling him Kaiju number 8. Basically, they're doing a Spider-Man. Like, they don't give a shit that he's helping people. They don't give a shit that he's doing hero work. They don't give a shit about any of that. They are Jane Jonah Jameson in his S and gunning for him because Kaijus are bad no matter what. They then go through the entrance exams, meet blonde ponytails, blonde pigtails, whatever you want to call her, who's super strong, super rich, and pretty much a rich asshole, very pretentious, and I'm not a huge fan of her. They go through the training course, meeting our next main characters, which is Green Manbun and Pink Pompadour, and then also Army Guy. There are new main characters, there are new friends, which will be going with our main character across all of the missions when they join the 3rd Battalion. We also have Purple Hair Bowlcut, who is one of the generals who uses 2 katana blades, and our main sort of bob cut character, which knows our main guy, our Kaiju 8, when he was young. So they all go out on missions, they fight fungus, and obviously Kaiju uses his powers, they fight a load of other things, and there's this weird sort of pillar head guy who is another humanoid kaiju who can turn into a human, and he's the second and I do believe the only other person that can turn into a kaiju, and it just poses a big threat because he's super strong. Our kaiju number 8 almost kills him, but he gets away, and then he has to fight the captain. And then the next kaiju battle appears, where it's a big sort of like grand kaiju. It's one of the strongest kaijus they've ever faced. They almost die, they pull through, they stop a bomb, and then Kaiju gets sent to prison because obviously he got found out because he had to go kaiju mode because it was kaiju time to save everybody, and unfortunately everybody saw him turn, so he got sent to prison. Everyone is still on his side, everyone still 100% supports him and wants him to come back, but they have to follow protocol. So he gets sent, he fights like pigtails, his dad, who is like the leader of the government, which is like holy fucking shit. Of course, he was going to be important, and he's using the power of Kaiju number 2, and that just makes the bug inside Kaiju 8 go absolute ape shit and try and take it on and beat it all Kong and Godzilla style. He then almost kills the dad, but then ends up sort of stopping himself just in time, and he's then put back on the roster. He's put back out there, ready to fight, and the series does end with a teaser of Pillarhead coming back to return to take out Kaiju number 8. Now that's the story. Obviously, I went into a little bit more detail than I normally would, but again, this is an anime where the characters are very standoutish. Like, each main character has a unique hairstyle and a unique hair color, so you can tell them apart from all the grunts and all the other soldiers, which basically just wear gas masks and are basically non-important to the story. So all of the main characters have their hair out all the time and just wear like a mask over their mouth, whereas all the other sort of guards, grunts, whatever you want to call them, soldiers, have the full headgear on, so you can't see any of their hair, any of their facial features, and it is a little suspicious why these guys do get to have like all their shit on display all the time, and I I don't know. It was just a little nitpick that I have. It's like, why do these guys get to do it and then other guys don't? What's the difference here? I know they're main characters, but still, come on, set a standard for your soldiers. And the character design is absolutely impeccable. Their suits look really cool. Their suits are really useful as well. So they don't just look cool, they have a practicality to them, which not a lot of animes do. They just give them an outfit. It's like, that's iconic. Give you that. That'll sell merch. No, these have practicality to them, which is really cool and really interesting. We have a unique set of weapons. We have a unique power scaling system with the humans using kaiju related weaponry, which is made from kaijus and can also kill kaijus, which I think is really cool. And it's got some really good world building. Even though we didn't travel all that much in the series, we got to understand the characters a lot better. Again, this is a really good opening series, a really good opening season to this world, because it introduces us to the character, it lets us know the world, it gives us a good sense of the power scaling and who's the strongest, who's the weakest, and it does give us a pretty broad stroke of characters and like how strong they actually are. It is very good. The voice acting, I do watch dub, so I'm ranking and rating the dub voice acting, and I'm gonna be honest, it's still fucking dope. There is a load of voice actors reappearing here. It's basically like watching My Hero, because the My Hero voice actors are in fucking everything nowadays. I can't go 2 animes without hearing Bakugo or without hearing like Tamaki Amajiki or Kirishima. Their voices are everywhere. My personal favorite character is Pink Pompadour. I think he's like the greatest one. He's got the shark teeth. He's so like overconfident in himself. He reminds me of Kirishima, and he is really cool. He is my personal favorite. But again, I will talk about more about those characters, those side characters, in their own Lego customs, which I will be making over the next couple of days. So do stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's just a really bright, colourful anime. The story's really interesting. It's not like a sort of Godzilla and Kong situation where you don't give a shit about the humans and you just want to see Godzilla and Kong fight. You actually care about the characters in this one. They actually make you care. They give you reasons to care because it's sort of the story is driven by them and they're the main focal point instead of like Godzilla, and the kaiju fights are still really cool. Like, the kaiju fights are fucking insane. And obviously, with anime and animation, cartoons in general, you can do a lot more than you can with live action. So I really, really like how they actually made this into an anime. And I know most animes have terrible live actions, but I feel like this live action would also be very terrible because you can do a lot more in action and you can do a lot more with kaijus and how they move and how they look with this. Like, obviously with animation you can do a lot more than in CGI, and some of these kaijus are but fucking ugly. They're like humanoid sort of creatures with like human heads with like crab bodies. There is some weird sort of fungus ones, there's some Mars ones, there's birds, there's dragons, there's loads of different types of kaijus, and again, I just wouldn't work in live action. So I think it does really well in translating from manga to anime, because I have seen a couple of manga screenshots and a couple of manga comparisons on Instagram, and Again, I think it fits really well and it's done really nicely. I think the tone is set really well with the weather and how most of the fights take place at like nighttime in the dark. I don't know if that's just when kaijus come out in this world or if it's just to set the scene, but it sets the scene fucking wonderfully, giving that night backdrop with some evil funguses coming and destroying the city, or having like the big red guy come and destroy the city, because if it's nighttime, the fire can glow a lot more. The destruction can be seen a lot more, especially with the fire, because it gives that contrast. It is a really good anime. It is cartoony at times with the animation, and it is quite goofy a little bit, but then again, it can be really serious and take itself seriously, and that's always good. We're allowed a little bit of comedy as long as it doesn't interfere with like the seriousness of the story, and it balances it really well here. And some of my favorite characters are the comedic characters, the comedy characters, but even the comedy characters can be badass as fuck. Like the sort of general, he is always laughing, he's always giggling, he's got like cat teeth and he looks goofy with his bowl cut, but he's also badass and he looks like Attack on Titan sometimes when he's fighting, and the animation when he's flying around using those swords is fucking insane and reminds me so heavily of Captain Levi from Attack on Titan, you will not believe it. So this anime is absolutely incredible. I would watch this again, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change anything about this anime, and I'm very excited for season 2. It has all the right to have this much hype, and season 2 needs to come out right now, like right this second, right now, like right now, right now.